Shortly after the defeat of Nazi Germany in May 1945, Allied Army intelligence retailers unearthed a field of pinnacle mystery documents inside the lawn of a senior German diplomat. One set of microfilmed files contained a record into the taking pictures of a Soviet prisoner of struggle fare with the aid of using an SS Protect at Sachsenhausen detention camp on 14 April 1943. The sufferer became a 36-year antique Red Army artillery lieutenant named Yakov Dzhugashvili. There became not anything tremendous inside the dying of a Soviet soldier in Nazi captivity. In the primary 365 days of Adolf Hitler's invasion of the USSR, and predicted 2.8 million Red Army prisoners had succumbed to starvation, publicity, and ailment at the same time as in German hands. However, because the SS record made clear, Yakov Dzhugashvili became no regular prisoner. He became the eldest son of Joseph Vissarionovich Dzhugashvili, higher recognized to the arena as Joseph Stalin. Aware of the importance of the dying of this kind of high-reputation prisoner in his custody, the SS leader Heinrich Himmler forwarded the record to the overseas minister Joachim Ribbentrop on 22 April 1943, claiming that Dzhugashvili had died at the same time as seeking to break out. Ribbentrop prudently determined now no longer to launch the information to the Nazi press, and the record became duly filed away. Had it now no longer been eliminated from Berlin inside the very last month of struggle fare in Europe, alongside different German nation files, Himmler's record may in no way have survived. Once in Allied hands, it became sent to London for correct examination. Not a good deal became recognized inside the British Foreign Office. Approximately Stalin's eldest baby, Dzhugashvili, became born in March 1907 to Stalin's first wife, Ekaterina née Svanidze. Ekaterina succumbed to tuberculosis while he became just a few months antique, leaving him inside the care of an aunt in Georgia. Father and son might now no longer meet once more till nearly 4 years after the October Revolution in 1917, with the aid of using which era Stalin became a growing big name inside the Bolshevik regime. When he joined his father in Moscow, the 14-year antique Yakov ought to slightly communicate a phrase of Russian. Stalin got here to treat his son as a weakling unworthy of his affection or respect. On being instructed that Yakov had attempted to kill himself with a pistol over an sad love affair, Stalin scornfully exclaimed, "He can't even shoot straight!" The one brilliant spot in Yakov's lifestyles became his father's second wife, Nadezhda Alliluyeva. Yakov appeared Nadezhda, who became most effective 6 years older than him, as greater like a dedicated sister than a stepmother. In November 1932, she killed herself. Some whispered that the purpose became her melancholy over the impact of Stalin's ruthless rules at the Soviet people. Others secretly opined that it became the revulsion she felt for her husband. With Nadezhda's dying, Yakov misplaced a vital best friend in his father's internal circle, in addition to an expensive friend. He controlled to break out Stalin's bullying numerous years later with the aid of becoming a member of the Red Army. The circulate had fateful consequences. Shortly after the begin of Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union on 22 June 1941, his artillery unit became annihilated and he became taken prisoner. Having hooked up Yakov's identity, his captors gleefully introduced the information to the arena. However, he adamantly resisted all their tries to get him to denounce his father's regime. In early 1943, the Germans presented to change Yakov for Field Marshal Friedrich Paulus, whom the Red Army had captured at Stalingrad. Stalin allegedly became the provide down, saying, "I will now no longer change a marshal for a lieutenant." By this time, Dzhugashvili became being held at Sachsenhausen detention camp out of doors, Berlin, in a unique compound for outstanding persons and continual Allied escapees. Here he shared a hut with every other Soviet officer, Vasily Kokodin, a nephew of Stalin's overseas minister, Vyacheslav Molotov. and with 4 British prisoners of struggle fare. Compared with the situations persisted with the aid of using the relaxation of Sachsenhausen's inmates, their quarters have been comfortable. However, the SS record into Yakov's dying noted common disagreements among the 2 Soviet prisoners and their reluctant British partners that made him severely depressed. The very last straw, regarded to, had been the accusation from the Britons that Dzhugashvili and Kokodin had intentionally fouled the communal latrine. Just earlier than dusk, on 14th April 1943, Yakov strode out of his hut toward the encircling, electrified, barbed twine fence. According to the SS record, a sentry ordered him to halt. When he refused, the sentry, obeying status orders, opened fire, killing him instantly. Yakov's moves have been the ones of a person bent on suicide. As officers in Whitehall waited for a complete translation of the SS record, they mentioned with U.S. diplomats the concept of informing Stalin how his son had died. The convention among Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Harry Truman at Potsdam in July 1945 regarded to be best for this purpose. However, as soon as the entire record were studied, the Foreign Office speedy deserted the plane, with one diplomat concluding that he and his colleagues do now no longer assume the proof might give Stalin any consolation, and it'd be certainly distasteful to us to attract interest to the Anglo-Russian quarrels which preceded the dying of his son. The document on Dzhugashvili became closed, and its contents might continue to be a mystery till it became declassified many years later. Did Stalin ever find out how his son died? In January 1951, the Daily Telegraph ran a record approximately a curious quest with the aid of using Russian retailers in Germany to analyze Yakov's disappearance, with a praise of 1 million rubles for a particular lead. No follow-up tale ever appeared. Joseph Stalin died in March 1953, elderly 75, leaving at the back of little proof to signify that he lamented the dying of his eldest baby any greater than he had mourned individuals who had perished at the same time as he dominated over the Soviet Union. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe our channel.